Hello and welcome. We're back again with episode number 3, and today we have another team with us. Welcome to SWOT analysis by Cricket Cult. So today the team in focus is West Indies, another team like Sri Lanka who we discussed yesterday that has a match tomorrow in phase one. So we're going to have a look at them and how they'll fare. We expect them to obviously cross the first hurdle and get into the main 12. But Ashwin, initial thoughts on the Maverick team that is the West Indies?
See, two-time champions for sure. But then again, of late, their cricket has really fallen off and they are in a bit of a transition phase. And this transition couldn't have come at a worse time when you lose stalwarts like Gale, Bravo, Pollard, and obviously the internal politics, which has meant that Andre Russell is not playing, and the unfortunate or I don't know bizarre reason for whatever happened with Shimron Hetmeyer. So I think I won't hold my horses too high as far as West Indies are concerned.
But you never know. The format is such where they can do a couple of upsets, cause a couple of upsets, and you never know if they find themselves in the semi-final. Then we've seen in 2012 and in 2016 semi-final is anyone's game. But yeah, I do agree that the 8 teams that we're discussing, they're probably the least likely to bag the trophy, but that still doesn't not make them contenders. They're always contenders in T20 cricket. However good or bad their playing 11 might look on paper, because we know they absolutely love this format of the game, and so you can never count them out when it comes to T20 cricket.
Right. So, what do you have to say? Do you think they are going to be missing someone like Andre Russell and Sunil Narayan? Obviously, because when West Indies won the title, someone like Samuel Badri played a huge role with his leg spin bowling early on in the innings. So, do you think that this is going to be a loss?
Andre Russell, not that much. Obviously, any team will miss Sunil Narayan because he's a 4-over bank. He's like a Rashid Khan. He's your bank for 4 overs. So any team would miss that. And yes, even Samuel Badri, like he used to bowl with the new ball and used to do very well in the power play, which is also a crucial aspect of the game. Not Andre Russell that much. Maybe someone like a Kieron Pollard, who used to give them hope even when there were a couple of wickets that fell down early. They have enough all-rounders, and we'll discuss that once we get to the strength, once we get to the SWOT analysis. But let's start with the SWOT. So with Shimron Hetmeyer now one of my favorites missing his flight. What is their 15 looking like, Ashwin?
Okay, the West Indies 15 is as follows: Nicholas Puran, Roman Powell, Yannick Correa, Johnson Charles, Sheldon Cottrell, Jason Holder, Akil Hossain, Shamar Brooks, Aljaris Joseph, Brandon King, Yvonne Lewis, Kyle Myers, Obed McCoy, Raymond Reefer, and Odion Smith.
There are actually a few interesting and talented players in there. So yeah, as I said, I think they have more of a chance than Afghanistan and Bangladesh, who we've left out of the top 8. So I think you never know with the West Indies, but like there are a few dangerous players in that squad. So without much ado, let's get into the strength. So according to you, what is their biggest strength?
One of the biggest strengths of West Indies ever since they've started playing cricket and they have dominated, it's been their naturally talented batsmen and their flair for big hitting. So one thing that West Indies put the fear of God into the opposition is with their big hitting ability. When you see someone like Roman Powell, what he did in the IPL or what he did for West Indies against England earlier this year, someone like even Jason Holder seems a flawless hitter of the ball, and Nicholas Puran, when he's in form, he can go after the bowling. Johnson Charles, Yvonne Lewis. I mean, apart from Shamar Brooks, even Brandon King. Shamar Brooks is one of the accumulators of the side, but you see someone like even Odion Smith when he's playing and when he's playing in good form. I don't know if he's making a 11 or not, but when he's in good form, even he can strike the long ball. What do you think? What is their strengths according to you?
Absolutely, absolutely. Their natural hitting ability. I think the natural hitting ability has got to be their biggest strength, and that is a perennial strength that will remain with the West Indies team. This is obviously their favorite format, and uh, apart from that, I think uh, they also have decent balance to their team. That is also like it depends on like they haven't done that well at the international level. But if you look at the franchisee level, they have a few players that give them that balance. But of course, nothing trumps raw power. And I think apart from flair, raw power is also their strength. Coming to the weakness, I think their big weakness is bowling. Uh, I mean, yes, Azari Joseph is quite decent. Sheldon Cottrell has done well, but in the death, Cottrell struggles in the death overs, and that is where most of the T20 games change, man. Like it's in the power play and at the death, and I feel like their bowling just isn't quite up to the mark. As a unit, there are a couple of decent bowlers. Akil Hussain is a good operator, but I just feel as a whole in those 20 overs there aren't too many players, too many bowlers the opposition is worried about. So even if they get 180, 190, like I fancy my chances against them on a good pitch. And yeah, what do you think is their biggest weakness?
I think the biggest weakness, as you said, is their bowling, but also the fact that they do not have a proper backup spinner to
Hmm.
Akil Hussain, and I think
True,
that is
true.
somewhere it is another. There is a huge weakness and a huge policy because Akil Hussain on the West Indian and the slow pitches, he's been pretty good with the ball. He's got that guile, the ability to flight the ball, beat batsmen on the turn and stuff like that. But the Australian pitch is not going to give him too much purchase. It is going to be difficult for him, and I won't be surprised if he happens to be one of the weakest links against some of the other teams that he's bound to come up against in the Super 12 stage. So, coming to the opportunities, what do you think is the biggest opportunity that West Indies have?
I think I did allude to that in my strength, but I think the biggest opportunity for them, no one's giving them a chance. So there is an inherent back against the wall situation where we've seen them do well in the past. But apart from that, if you look at it technically, like they have many batsmen who can bowl and bowlers who can bat, especially fast bowlers. Spin is a worry, yes, but like if you look at someone like a Jason Holder, you look at someone like an Odion Smith, although I still think he might struggle to make it to the 11, but a Rovman Powell, Akil Hussain is a decent batsman himself and a great fielder at that. So I think even if they do lose a couple of wickets, like they have it in them to make the opposition suffer if you're not at your best. And if they have their day, man, like the the power that they possess, I think yeah. So I think a well-rounded team with decent all-rounders, I think that's a huge opportunity for them, at least in this format. And because most of them are fast bowling all-rounders, I think that will suit them in the Australian conditions. So that's a slight opening that they might feel confident about.
Right, I agree with you on that point. And finally, onto the threats. What do you think is the biggest
You,
thing, or do I
uh,
get it?
I think the third part is pretty obvious with West Indies cricket. It's in shambles right now. They don't, we discussed this about Sri Lanka, how their adversity has galvanized the team, and now they're playing as a unit. I don't see that with the West Indies. It's 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 like a devil's may care attitude, and of course we know that they come from different tiny nations, but I sometimes feel, and I feel very sad saying that the pride of playing for West Indies, representing the West Indies, is somehow missing in the current crop of players, and I think that's the biggest threat to any team. And this is the worst kind of threat, that your dressing room isn't together, if there are issues in the dressing room, then I feel your tournament goes awry. And I also feel that Nicholas Puran as a captain is still untested. That is also that is also a threat because he was just handed over the captaincy 6 to 8 months ago by Kyron Pollard. So he's an inexperienced operator. He's obviously never led in such a big tournament. So that is another thing that might cause them trouble.
For me, I think the biggest threat is, as you said, West Indies. I see them as a very combustible unit. When we used to watch Pakistan in the late 90s and early 2000s, that team had a ton of talent. When you have someone like Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis, Shoaib Akhtar, Shakil Mushtaq, Inzamam Mulak, such big names. But then again, when the tournament is to come, there used to be a bit of bitterness, a bit of infighting. I think the infighting comes from the fact that the board have literally sent them with a knife in a gunfight. That's what they have done.
Yeah.
No Andre Russell, no Sunil Narayan, no Shimron Hetmeyer. I mean, three of the biggest names in Test cricket.
Hetmeyer is not the board's fault. Officially.
Exactly. And this, I think, you alluded to this fact also, that this is perhaps one of the most strange West Indian teams in a long time that is going into the T20 World Cup. Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is their format. They should kill it in this format. If you have their strongest 11, I think they'll definitely be one of the contenders. And if not in the top 4, then they should be making the semi-finals every time. And I'll tell you, no one wants to face a West Indies team in a knockout in a T20 game, because one person can just have his day out in the park, which can happen now also. Someone like a Rovman Powell or a Brandon King or a Evan Lewis or a Nicholas Puran, if they have their day in the park, you never know. Like that, they can just snatch the game away from you.
Exactly.
So they're very exciting.
I'm sorry, I just remembered one more name, Carlos Brathwaite. If you remember.
Yeah, remember the name.
Exactly. So they are an endless supply of power hitters there, but it is sad to see the state that they are in, to be very honest.
Yeah, that's true. Coming to the likely 11, this is the toughest likely 11 that I have done, and I spent so much time thinking about it, and I might be completely off the boil. So this is because no one knows with West Indies cricket, this is actually a likely 11 plus of the available options. What would be my 11? Because you can not have a likely 11 with the West Indies, but I've given it a try, because you might argue that Kyle Myers should open, or Johnson Charles, or Evan Lewis. So I've gone with Johnson Charles and Evan Lewis. It might be that they don't open and Kyle Myers open, one of them doesn't open, but 1 down Brandon King, 2 down Nicholas Puran, 3 down should have been Hetmeyer, but it's I put Shamar Brooks there. He can replace his spot with Nicholas Puran depending on if they lose early wickets. Then you have your all-rounders coming in, Jason Holder at 4 down, at 5 down. Rovman Powell at 4 down, Jason Holder at 5 down. Then you have Akil Hussain at 6 down, followed by the 3 pacers, Zari Joseph, Obed McCoy, and Sheldon Cottrell.
That's a good lineup. I think that's a pretty
looks decent, right? That's what I think. Looks decent. So
pretty decent. Considering the way they have played in recent times in international T20, I think that's pretty decent. So obviously Obed McCoy will have memories of that 6-wicket haul, but that's for another time. So hopefully we see West Indies play some amazing cricket this World Cup. What are your expectations before we call it a wrap?
I don't expect them to necessarily end up in the top 4, because by all this thing, if they top their first phase 1 group, then they'll be in India's group, and you have India, Pakistan, and South Africa. So I don't, on paper, I don't expect them to reach the top 4. But with West Indies cricket, you never know. But don't assume that there won't be an upset with the West Indies team. It can just happen anytime. But if you ask me right now, I don't see them in the top 4.
All right. So with that, guys, it's a wrap. And please follow us on Cricket Cult Official, which is our official Instagram handle. Cult Cricket is our official Twitter handle. www.cricketcult.com is our official website. And go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe Cricket Cult Official. And please
Don't forget to press the bell icon for all the notifications. We'll be coming up. This is coming thick and fast now. The World Cup is here, is almost here. Not even a week to go. We'll be here tomorrow with another team.